Hi, I'm Troy Bailey, and welcome to the Comic Book Movie Collector's Guide, the show about collecting all things superhero cinema. And today we are looking at Batman Hush. Let's get into it. Batman Hush is an animated superhero film with a runtime of 82 minutes. The film had a world premiere at San Diego Comic-Con on the 19th of July 2019, and then on the 20th of July 2019 was made available through digital streaming outlets. It was later released on DVD, Blu-ray and 4K on the 6th of August 2019. It was directed by Justin Copeland and was written by Ernie Allbacker, with the film being produced by Warner Brothers Animation and DC Entertainment, with it being distributed by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. The film is loosely based on the 2002 comic book story arc of the same name and is the 13th installment of the DC Animated Movie Universe and the 35th overall film in the DC Animated Universe Original Movies line. In the film, Batman forms an alliance with Catwoman to defeat a new villain named Hush, who knows all of Batman's secrets and targets the key figures in his life, which set Batman on a race against time to crack Hush's deadly game and find out his real identity. Okay, the disc and case. Now let's have a look at it. I really like this cover. I'm a bit of a Jim Lee fan. And I really like that artwork that he's drawn for this. This is pretty good. So on the thing, pretty stock standard with, there's Hush there at the bottom there for your standard spine. And of course on the back, nothing too well, that classic photo of Superman. I think that's from one of the covers actually. That, I love that. But very basic overall, nothing really much going on there. And as far as the disc goes, again, I'd like colour, but you know, you get what you get, and yeah, that's not too bad. Like, this is pretty stock standard for these direct to DVD releases for DC stuff. So overall, I'm probably going to give this a little bit of a higher mark because it's got some nice Jim Lee artwork. So I'm going to give this 7 out of 10. The story and script. So this is loosely, and whoa, do I mean loosely, based off the 2002 comic book story arc that features in the Batman comics. Now, this story was very acclaimed back in the day and is still highly regarded today amongst Batman fans. So it begs the question, why would you take such a great story and absolutely butcher it to within an inch of its life? To almost the point where it doesn't even resemble the original source material, bar, you know, a couple of plot points and the title, you know. Look, I'm not going to go through and run you through all the changes in the story for this adaptation, but there are two main glaring ones where Batman and Catwoman have a romantic fling, all the way through this movie being like this major plot point, but it was only like a very brief little side piece in the comics, which was weird. And the other major, sorry, that's the only way I can say it, is that the Riddler is Hush, spoilers, and not Thomas Elliot like it was in the comic.
Come on, man.
Now, the story they had was, it was okay, but it's not Hush. It's another story with the Hush title slapped over the top of it, and that's where it went wrong. If you want to tell that story, that's fine. You know, don't hide your average story under the cloak of this beloved title. You know, that's all I'm saying. So with that, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 30. From page to screen. So as far as the characters go, it was pretty much the same old when it comes to the animation for this series of DC Animated Universe films. Very stock standard, which is really a shame, because if you're going to adapt this properly, you really should be looking to try and emulate some of Jim Lee's style to the animation, kind of like they did with Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, where they took on the style of the artist Ed McGuinness, who drew the original comic, and incorporated it in the animation, and it looked great. And as far as the voice actors go, it's a lot of the same people this time around. And I suppose if you're trying to keep the continuity of these films, kind of makes sense. But there were a couple of newbies in there, and I've got them up on the list here. So as far as this goes, it was like the story had so many missed opportunities that it really let this down, and it really stopped it from being something awesome, from the animation and the story. They were just probably two of the points that really just let this down. So that's why I'm going to give this a 12 out of 20. Okay, special features. So, as usual, no real surprises here from the DC Direct to a video movies. That there is no real special features here at all. Just a couple of trailers. So what do you get on here? You get a sneak peek at Wonder Woman Bloodlines and a preview of Batman Bad Blood and Batman Assault on Arkham. So with that being all there is, yet again, I'm only going to give this a 2 out of 10. Okay, the critics review. Now, the critics score came in at 88% and the audience score came in at 67%. So I think the fans got it right here on this occasion, as the movie is okay, but it ain't great. But the critics, holy shit, weren't they way off? And it really shows when you read the critics' comments, as they seem to have no idea of the source material and have no context for their review. Like these two reviews, which I'll just put up here, just a couple of examples of how clueless some of these reviewers are. And yes, comic book fans who read the comics are going to be critical of this take on the source material, as the source material is way better, and this has barely any of it in it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not nitpicking. Anyway, look, I'll just get off my soapbox here. Anyway, so if we round it up, I'm going to give this a score of 7 out of 10. My review. So as I mentioned before, this story featured in the Batman comics, which I was lucky enough to read and own all of the comics back in the day when it came out. So as you can imagine, and I really enjoyed it, so you can imagine my excitement when when I found out this was getting turned into a film. So then I sat down and I watched it, and I started to question my memory, like, am I getting old? Because full disclosure, I haven't read it in a fair few years. So I was a bit hazy, but even still, there were some things where it was just like, that just doesn't seem right. This was pretty much me all the way through the movie. So I thought I'd go back and do my research and oh my God, how much did they change? But I think my biggest question is, why? I don't get it. A great story. It was just a great story. Why do you need to mess around with it so much? I just don't understand, unless it was like a time constraint thing. Because if you did it properly, it probably would have had to been like, say, the Dark Knight Returns adaptation, and have it over to like 2 movies, because this movie was going really fast, brushing over some major like content, and in the process, it just probably. Instead of being called Hush, it probably should have been called Rush. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Anyway, if you love the original comic, you won't like this movie. But if you don't know the comic, you might like this movie. And for me, I've read the comic, so because of that, I'm going to give this a score of 5 out of 20. Final thoughts. So first up is collectability, and if we look at the collector scale, I would say this would be for your comic book fan and up. It is a good addition to your Batman or your comic book movie collection, and it's really more probably for your casual fan who doesn't really know the story that well. As far as availability goes, this one is really on the common side of things. You can find it at any of your usual retail outlets or online. But as far as your average price goes, you are looking at anywhere from $10 to $17 on DVD, $12 to $28 on Blu-ray, and $17 to $35 on 4K HD. Now for the final score, we get a grand total of 43 out of 100. Not a great score for what should have been a great movie. So much great source material, but just none of it used. Other than the title. Now, believe me when I say the book is way better.
None of this is my fault. He made me control Superman.
What's his name?
He calls himself Hush.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and of course if you did, why not hit the like, subscribe and notification buttons, as it really helps the channel out and I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much to all of you who already have. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you did enjoy this movie and if you did pick up a copy for your collection. Also, if you would like to request a review or you want to see something else on the channel, by all means, please, you can email me at thecomicbookmoviecollector@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on the socials at comicbookmoviecollector on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. All the links will be down below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.